Hey y'all, this video you're about to see, I just want to preface it with my own regrets as to having to even create it. YouTube calls us creators. I like to say we're just artists, making some form of entertainment possible for those who want it, and we should survive if there's enough of those who want it. But this following video is not something that I ever wanted to create. It's not my type of content. I don't like complaining. I don't like raising heck. I've always advocated for what's right. And that's wherein lays the rub. So I hope you will appreciate the following video for how I felt I had to do it. Not just for me, but other creators. My son is an artist. My son wants to make has his own channel and wants to make it a something within the next 4 or 5 years. You know, you gotta settle. You gotta know when to roll, know when to punch, and know when to lay down. This isn't a time to lay down. It's a time to be heard. So I hope you'll stick around and watch this. Thank you. You know, sometimes if it looks like poop and it smells like poop, you don't have to touch it to know it's poop. But friends, we're about to deal with some of that now. It's time to call a spade and call out YouTube and their ridiculous practices that they only seem to use against those they don't agree with, not unilaterally, evenly, and with respect. And that's sad. Yes, I will start with a disclaimer. Yes, I'm bitching about the monetization of my channel, but I'm going to start with a disclaimer that this is shared all over the place. I get comments off screen all the time. Sorry, I'm in pain and I'm trying to find a comfortable spot because we might be here for a while. Please strap in. I'll give a really short background, but again, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to edit a bunch out to try and keep it succinct and easy for you to watch. I know some of you don't care about it. I hope I get a thumbs up anyway, and you move on if you want to move on. But I am going to show the absolute ridiculousness of YouTube's claims that they are managing their environment properly. They are playing the part of a publisher. They are not saying X, Y, and Z are not allowed, but A through W are, and X, Y, and Z, if it's done, doesn't matter. Anything else, it's just not allowed. No, that is not what they're doing. I do agree that as a platform for production, they have to have certain rules, and we're going to go through those rules. Stay tuned. I want to say that I have, for the short term, moved around most of these issues. Maybe 75 to 80% of my channel is being monetized. But in order to do it, I have had to really, really constrict what you guys are asking for. But I have found ways to do it. If I know that I am breaking these advertiser-friendly guidelines, remember, these are not the content guidelines of what is and is not allowed. This is what advertisers supposedly, on behalf of advertisers, YouTube is saying that advertisers want as control mechanisms. As we read through them, you'll see that there are indicators that this does not come from the advertisers. And I want to always say, although my channel is only cannabis related and not cannabis centric, and that is one of the changes I made to be more compliant. Although my channel is not that way, it should be allowed to be that way, because I would hazard a guess that 90% of all those advertisers out there do not give a hoot if their advertisement is on a channel of somebody who is in this new marketplace. I just want to challenge that, because even though the guidelines specifically call out cannabis, cannabis is legal medically in over 50% of the United States and all of Canada. It is legal recreationally in 22% of the US states, and soon to be more, and all of Canada. It is just a regulated commodity like tobacco or alcohol, but is safer. That's how it should be played, and it's not being played that way. And I know that advertisers out there, look at O. Henry made a bar called the 425 strictly for this market. They want to advertise on this market. YouTube doesn't have the ability to say to these advertisers, where do you want your ads? Click all of these and we'll make sure it gets there. They don't have that ability, so they're trying to restrict what we put out there so they can say they're living up to their advertisers' needs. That's my rant, but now let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Right there, that's the video we're talking about. Question and answers. My video, 8 minutes, 17 seconds long, where I ask users to ask me things. In the long and short of it, that is what this video is all about. It's just me asking you to ask me something. Later, I'll answer you. You all know it, but YouTube's having troubles with it. So when it went up, it was after the third or fourth view that it went demonetized. And I really thought, this is one of those ones that's just caught the algorithm wrong. They'll notice it, and within 15-20 minutes, it'll go green again. Yellow icon means demonetized, and green means go. And I waited, and I waited. I, of course, appealed right away. I always do. And I waited, but it didn't go up. And I thought, that's weird. But by morning, and sometimes I don't get it going green till the next day, but by morning I'll get an email saying it's monetized, because this one broke nothing. Nothing. There wasn't even... Anyways. So the next morning I got your video does not meet advertiser-friendly guidelines and therefore is remaining demonetized. That's when I went to YouTube partner support. Supposedly, our stop to find out these issues in monetization, in AdSense, in every single area of us working with YouTube to bring content to all of you. And I wrote them and said, this time please don't answer me with the generic answer. This video that I'm attaching in this ticket does meet advertiser-friendly guidelines, does meet your user content guidelines, and in fact is so benign it's ridiculously hidden algorithm. Would you please remonetize, or tell me what, where, and when, so that I can provide better content to my followers? I got the email the next day. Hi there, thanks for contact... No, sorry, that was their generic as soon as I logged it. Hi Gord, thanks for reaching out. Love that, as if they're making it personal. I know how important it is to fully monetize this video. Unfortunately,
due to the nature of your video or video metadata, including your video title, thumbnails, or tags, we found that your content does not align with the advertiser-friendly content guidelines and may not be suitable for all brands. Because of this, your video will remain with a yellow icon and receive limited to no ads.
Videos with yellow icons will still earn YouTube Red revenue. This was a copy-paste. So, I'm not accepting that anymore, and I wrote back, Elaine, please, this is getting frustrating. Your reply is exactly what is said every time I ask for understanding. It isn't helping. You say, something. What? Please what? In this video can be considered bad for advertising. I only ask my subs to submit questions for another video. Nothing more. I can't correct if I can't be told what is wrong. This is the most calm video I've ever done. This is why I went to help desk, because normal appeal did nothing. People might believe you more if once in a blue moon you either said where in my video or title or tags or metadata is the error, or just once say we reviewed and can't find a reason to demonetize, so we're remonetized. I'm beyond frustration. Please answer. The next day, Elaine writes back, "Hi Gord, thanks for keeping in touch." Just a minute. Keeping in touch. Placating me does not help when you're dealing with somebody angry. I wouldn't be able to give you the specifics about the video. Interrupt him for a second. Let us repeat that. What did she say?
I wouldn't be able to give you the specifics about the video.
But the advertiser-friendly content guidelines, a link, offer a wealth of information that can help you out. Please let us know if you need anything else. Ad nauseum, I've gone through the advertiser-friendly content guidelines. Ad nauseum. I know it didn't contravene any of that, so I wrote back, to which I have not got a response yet. I have read those and complied with them. If you cannot say what or where I broke them, which I did not, then you should accept my appeal. I have said this over and over. I did not break a rule in this video, so the ball is in your court. This is unfair business practice otherwise. The more I read it, the more I see it, the more I get into it, the more angry I get because of the frustration of it. And just today, the creator support, or whoever you want to call them, created a video saying to help with the guidelines. And once again, everybody in the comment section was saying, your guidelines are so generic that you could use them against anything, but yet you never do. You never tell us what we've done wrong. You just say, oh, this one is not going to happen. And that is wrong. So let's break this video down. This is where, if I've already put the video up, I'm going to put it up again. We'll get this in edit. We'll figure it out. But this video is only 8 minutes long, and it really doesn't take long to break it down. So let's break it down. From 0 minutes to 32 seconds is the intro. The same intro used on my last couple of hundred videos, of which 80% are monetized. So it cannot be the intro. It just simply cannot be. Or every single video I do would be demonetized. From 33 seconds to 1 minute 5 seconds, I talk about the equipment I'm using, the DSLR, the microphone, etc. At 106 to 225, I talk about the video subject, Q&A. I ask for people to ask me things. And then at 226, I go into a history of my life. From where I was born, traveling Ontario to Quebec to BC to Cologne, Vancouver, then Kelowna. Chronologically at 3 minutes 30, I do mention from 11 to 8 I was in a band. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. At 3:45, I say a little bit of That's the closest I ever get to talking about cannabis, is a little bit of And I go like this. That can't be. That just can't be. At 5 minutes, I talk about a failed marriage without pointing any fault. So I'm being fair. At 5:50, I say I medicate naturally. I don't promote it. I don't say you should. I don't say let's do it together. I don't advocate for it. I just mention that that's what I do. It's legal. And it's only a mention. At 7 minutes in, I go back to Q&A, talk, and at 7:20, I do my little known facts. So, my friends, nothing in that is against their guidelines. And how do I know? Yeah, I could just say I know the guidelines. And you could all say, prove it. So let's go through it. Now remember, as I go through these guidelines, you will notice that sometimes some of this stuff does refer to other stuff I have done. My product reviews with Yocan. Although they have monetized half of my Yocan product reviews, and they have demonetized the other half. So they make no sense, but I understand where it follows that line. Also, my strain reviews. My strain reviews are now always put up unmonetized. I don't ask for monetization for it, so there can be no advertiser-friendly issues because no ad can be placed on them. So those don't, although those do contravene these guidelines, and I'm going to say a little bit of an opinion on that too. But this time, as we go through it, we aren't talking about my product reviews. We are not talking about my strain reviews. But we are talking about this one. And we're also talking about, just recently, I did a news, reporting on news from Australia about Australian laws in cannabis. And that one has been held up as not monetizable either. And it's just strictly talking about news. It's not saying you should try cannabis. It's not promoting. It's not advocating. It's just simply reporting. And where is opinion against the law? Nowhere. So here are their guidelines in a nutshell. And I just went through them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 main categories. We're not going to go in depth, I promise you. That's why I rewrote it instead of printing theirs. And not trying to play any kind of sleight of hand either, because I'm just not that smart. Guidelines. And every example, they say this is a non-exhaustive list. So they're already setting themselves up for saying, although it's not on the list, we could easily say, you must understand it should have been there. It is there. It's just not mentioned. No, they should make an exhaustive list, and if they find something that doesn't meet it, that should have been on it, keep updating it. We should be able to go to a list and say, I'm doing this. Search by that keyword, look through, see if we're contravening a guideline. Anyways, this is set up to put them in the brightest of lights, which, speaking of, I can't look. Yeah, I have pretty strong lights on me right now. Anyways, the first is inappropriate language. Whether it's in the thumbnail, used often or hatefully, used at the beginning of a video, or used often even if blocked, if overused. So again, they're being general. So they could say, well, this guy, sure, he swore 20 times, but he bleeped them all. This one, well, he swore 22 times, he bleeped them all, but 22 is just too much. They set themselves up for that. The next category is violence. Oh, okay. First, inappropriate language. Neither of those videos had any inappropriate language. Violence. Blood and guts. Think about these videos. Blood and guts, shooting, bombing, animal fights, cruelty, physical violence, raw war, violence against kids, hunting, if graphic. Haven't struck on any of those. Adult material, sexually explicit. Nudity, sexually suggestive. Okay? All of those had subcategories, but there was no sense in going into the subcategories of those because you know what? There was no adult material. Then they get into an area of harmful and dangerous acts. Again, doesn't pertain, but I'm going to read pranks, body modification and medical procedures, advocacy for harm to others, harm to self, agree with most of those, promoting or advocating for harmful health or medical claims or practices. That I took word for word, because that is, once again, one of those general things that they can say, well, you told them it might help them with fibromyalgia. This is why you'll always, this does not pertain to me, because I always say, contact your doctor. This works for me. I don't know what works for you. We are all different. I never, ever, ever have given medical advice. I have only expressed my experience and have always backed it up by saying, I am not saying you should try this. I'm saying it works for me, or it didn't work for me, etc. You need to work with your doctor. I always say that. Next category, hateful content: race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, disability, age, veteran status, sexual orientation, gender identification, all that stuff. If you're hateful in any of those categories, I was neither of them. I won't get into it. This is getting long. This is one area where sometimes in the past I've contravened. This channel, the way it is now, does not. Recreational drugs and drug-related content. My strain reviews fall into this. I understand it. I don't think they should be against advertiser-friendly guidelines. I say there are advertisers, and many, many of them, that want their food or supplies or whatever advertised on channels like this. But this is, again, because they don't have the abilities for their advertisers that they want. Promoting cocaine, methamphetamines, heroin, substitutes to cocaine, methadone, legal highs, and marijuana. They don't add alcohol to that. Amazing, eh? They have a separate section for that, though. Products, bongs, cannabis coffee shops, how to use or purchase. And I didn't do that in either of these videos. Again, my other content that might harbor, when I think that I'm playing on the edge of advertiser-friendly guidelines, I don't monetize. I have Patreon for that. So, shame again. Anyways, there was two sections, tobacco and firearms, which do not apply to me. And there was controversial issues. Again, another overlying: war, death, sex abuse, terrorism, extremism, and adult content in a family video. I have never broken any of these guidelines except in my strain reviews, and I think the guidelines are poor. I would love to see that change over time, and the more of us that attack it, the more of us that fight it, the more of us that try to make some sense of it, we will get there. We will get there. Because the pendulum always swings too hard to protect people, and then it comes back to reality. We will get there. We will get there. My friends, that's it. You know, some of you may wonder what this shirt says, and it is Russian, and it basically says, a real man is not found laying on the road. A real man is laying on the couch. Peace and cheers. Love and harmony.